Welcome back to the Whiskey and Whitetails show. I am Gus.
I'm Matt.
And if you're new here, thanks for joining. If you're not, thanks for sticking around, especially our friends over on Patreon.
Yes. Thank you for the patrons for sticking around, for helping us do stuff and watching stuff and giving us input and doing things and stuff.
Especially our executive producers who help us with, like Matt said, input and suggestions. And also thank you to the Waypoint TV network, podcast network, for partnering with us and having us on.
For sure. And thanks for the feedback on the whiskey classes that we're putting on Patreon.
Correct.
Those are good. Glad people are liking them. If you're missing out on that, you're missing out on that.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to kind of go over some of the stuff we did, but we wanted to start with the scavenger hunt, I think. Because we said that we would.
Yes, correct.
And so we're
update on the winner and the giveaway.
And the giveaway and what it meant. And we're going to answer all the questions and do all that stuff. And do you have the final coordinate? Yep, 32.70.551 degrees north. And then we had a 79.94597 degrees west. And so we will go through each of the clues and tell you exactly what you did or didn't do correctly. And with that, we're basically going to go from the video. For those that don't know, all right, now I'm ready. Sorry, we should have prepared better. So we're going to change things up now. We're going to go back to doing regular audio podcasts and instead of filming them all. And then every once in a while, we're going to make little YouTube videos. We're going to stop putting so much effort into YouTube because our time is better spent elsewhere. So for this giveaway, we had over $1,000 worth of stuff. We personally donated $500 or $600 in bottles. All of our stuff, everything you could possibly buy from our store, we included.
Yeah.
Except for like some one-off things that we do. We had 7 Star Liquors donated three store picks.
Yeah.
Senator's pick.
Props to them.
Old Elk pick and a 1792 pick, and he gave a bottle of Blanton's to go in. So there was that, and then nice. Scott from Highwire Distillery threw in a store pick, single barrel pick.
Oh, really?
A good one. It's one that I actually have. And then we also partner with One Asian Coffee, which we're going to talk about later in the podcast, for a bourbon barrel coffee. So the winner will be the first one to get some of the bourbon barrel coffee. And if you want to buy it, it'll be up on our store soon for, I believe, around $15 is all we're going to start out at.
Yep.
And this is an experimental batch. All right. So, first clue. It starts red and comes out clear. This magic facility is the first one in Charleston since 1933. So that will get you to the place. So it starts out red and comes out clear. We're, of course, talking about Jimmy Redcorn.
Yep.
It starts out red, it is distilled, and it comes out clear. And I specifically said the first one in Charleston.
Yeah, this was a clue that was not meant to be like broadly interpreted. It's very specific. Very specific.
So instead of saying Prohibition, which was the original clue, we made it a little bit harder, said 1933. And 1933 is when Prohibition ended.
Uh-huh.
So since the end of Prohibition, this is the first one in Charleston. Now, we saw several people that sent us screenshots of Striped Pig, which is the first one in South Carolina.
Yes.
And that's tricky because Striped Pig is in North Charleston.
In North Charleston, yeah.
So that is not a Charleston distillery. So that would have gotten you to the place.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then the clue was a single cask is the clue. It rhymes with this. Your number is 32. And as you see here, when you walk into the distillery, there was a sign where they had single cask number 32. And if you got that was...
So we didn't realize how to solve the first one.
That was the correct...
Right here in front of our face.
Number for your coordinate.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant.
So clue number 2. And Gus wrote this one. Hanged on the gallows at White Point, though not alone. The number you seek can be found in stone. I'm reading through a play button. That's why I keep stumbling here. These men would have preferred to die at sea. The number you seek stops at E in 20. And a lot of people had issues with that, but as you see here, this was the plaque where the gentleman pirate was hung along with some of his acolytes.
Right. So there were a lot of pirates that were hung around Charleston, but this point in particular, they were hung en masse. Like
Yes.
it was like, I think you said at one point there was 19, and then another at one time, and another point was
they did
30 or 40
to prove a
something.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, and they left them there for quite some time.
So they say that they buried them nicely, but they did not. It was actually they hung them, as you see in movies, they put them in cages and hung them on display so that people knew if pirates came here, this is the fate that you would get. Another fun piece of pirate factoids is, I was telling Gus about it while we were there. More or less a loophole. So crimes that were committed at sea were punished at sea. Mm-hmm. Crimes that were committed on land were punished on land. So pirates were typically punished at sea, thrown overboard, chained to a rock, whatever.
Keel-hauled, walk the plank, all that stuff.
So this was a loophole because it was where the tide comes in and out. So they hung them in a place where it could be underwater at high tide. Mm-hmm. But it's actually, but they would, that's why on the plaque it says that they buried them at what would be the low tide point, because then technically they were buried at sea. It's a loophole, if you will, which I found pretty interesting.
Tricky.
But your clue stops at the E in 20, so there's 70 letters from the beginning to the E in 20.
The letter E, and that one was a little tricky, right? You could be interpreted as stopping at E and not counting E, or counting E. Obviously, it's not supposed to be super easy. Yeah. So, you had to figure it out, maybe write down both numbers and plug them in later. Yep. And see which one's correct. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, that's location-wise, that's actually the Charleston Battery. It's what's commonly known as the Charleston Battery.
Yeah, White Point. Yep. All right. Number 3. This house color from Bermuda hails. Its walls filled with many a pirate tales. This clue requires skills from math class. Add the smallest squared prime to the panes of glass. So this house was originally pink. It's called the Pink House, and it was built from stones from Bermuda, which were pink.
They had a pinkish hue.
Yes, and it's been many a things over the years, but this time it is it's an art gallery. But it used to be a brothel. There's rumors of brothel, but it was a pirate bar. It's been a lot of things. It's been owned by several people. Fantastic story. But the panes of glass, there's four windows, and 3 of them have the same amount of panes of glass, and one of them does not. So that's what made it fun. And then the smallest prime number is 2.
Square that,
you get 4. So there's 51 panes of glass. That number was 55. And yes, you can argue that 1 is the smallest prime, but if you look at the actual requirements of a prime number, it cannot be, because it is not 2-factor divisible onto the next. I only did that because I got into that with somebody. They were like, "You're going to talk to my lawyer." He was joking, of course, but the case stands. All right. Clue number 4. Written in this year, South Carolina's first historian is on a plaque by this Irish pier, something like that. I'm reading over a play symbol. But, so the Irish pier was the Irish monument. There's a pier there where there is a boat, an old sailboat that's docked there. You can go do stuff there. But the Irish monument is there, and it was donated by the Irish Society of Charles, the Hibernian Society, the other people, blah, blah. And in the back corner, there is a plaque from Charleston's first, South Carolina and Georgia, actually. The very first historian there, his name is on that plaque, and the year was 1799, which actually takes us into the next grid coordinate. So that's 1799. So that ends the north one, and then we cross over into the west one. And that was 3 minutes. Let's go to 3:14. I didn't feel like writing all this down, so this was just laziness, and you guys just got to deal with it. All right. This one is easier than Sunday school. Look to the 7 stars for the man that played Deadpool. That will be 7 Star Liquor Store in James Island. If you walked in there, as you see here, I actually have a couple videos of guys finding that and having their way with the man that played Deadpool. So on his crotch, he had the number 45, and that would be your next pickup. Okay? Then thank you to 7 Stars Chris for playing along, giving us that donation. We have a lot of stuff coming up with him in the future that you should all pay attention to. Faux show. This one, only one person actually followed the rules, but that's fine. Named after which is in a grave goes. This island is your last clue shows. First, you will enter into this gate where pints and rugby they do not hate. And we were talking about St. James Gate on Folly Beach. They call it Coffin Island, named after the Coffin family. Not anything cool, just the Coffins owned it. If you buy us a whiskey to later critique, your efforts will reveal the number that you seek. So if you buy us a whiskey, if you buy somebody a shot, they have a shot board up there from 2, and at the top of that was the number 97. And that would have given you the final grid coordinates to the location of the barrel.
Which is where, actually, it seemed things got harder.
Harder, way harder. Which we thought this would be the easiest part, but I think people were overthinking it. This next place, so this gives you the grid coordinates to Fort Lamar. Fort Lamar is in James Island, not far from Folly Beach. And it has an area called Secessionville. Secessionville was not named for seceding the Union. It was named prior to that when they left the Charleston area. They just didn't like, they were like, these guys are uppity assholes, and they moved over to this place and they called it Secessionville. They seceded from Charleston. It has nothing to do with the Civil War. There, however, they did build a fort, and the Battle of Secessionville happened there. And lots of people died, and there is a monument there. A lot of people don't know it's even there. It's a cool little spot. It has earthworks, readabouts where you can go walk around. So I like the place. I don't live far from it, and it's a cool little place to go because no one's ever there because no one cares about history anymore. So face the monument and look past the gates. So if you face the monument, there's 4 sides of it. You can face, but there's only gates in one direction. So you look past the gates. There's a gate, there's a road, and there's a gate. If you look at there, you obviously know you got to go past that gate. So down the path less taken, your fate awaits. If you cross that gate and walk down there, there will be a well-documented path that it loops around the park. Mm-hmm. So you can follow that path basically to the end.
Yeah.
Once you start walking, there will be another path that's the path least taken. Very small footprint, not who will go that way. And it's like a 7-foot drop, and it goes down. You got to climb down on a tree. That would be a path less taken. So also the next clue, face the water and look to the right. So if you go down the path less taken, and then you're facing the water and look to the right, only 52 more paces, and you will say tight, because 52 more steps away, there was a trail camera there that picked up the second guy to arrive, didn't pick up the first. But here's the footage of that as well.
What's it? Seashell.
So there you have it. And that is Josh from Pennsylvania. Drove down from Pennsylvania to get in on this and won. And did a great job. Took him 10 hours, start to finish.
Congrats, Josh. Also, did he have any feedback for us? Like, this was a little
No, he
hard,
said it was
confusing.
amazing. It was so much fun. All the feedback I got, everybody said they had a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Because that's what we wanted. We wanted you to have fun. You may not win.
That was the purpose of it.
Yeah.
We really hoped that it would have been a bigger turnout, like more people kind of competing, if you will.
Yeah.
Kind of a community thing. And maybe it would take more of them to get to that point. But I had a great time just kind of following along with everybody's
For sure. We also
progress.
didn't really promote it. It was kind of like, hey, this weekend, so not everybody's free.
That's true. And
all the time.
Yeah.
But now that we know that it works and people are interested, then we'll, next time we do it, we'll let you know more in advance.
And we've had some for those, because we have people on YouTube and other platforms that aren't in the Charleston area, and many of them were quite interested in having something like this done elsewhere. So if we can find a location where there is enough interest, maybe we can do the same thing in another city.
I think on a smaller scale, since you and I both travel a good amount, I think that when we travel somewhere, we should just go to a local liquor store, so we're supporting local economies, and pick up a bottle or two, and hide it somewhere, and make
just throw something together.
Yeah, just throw it together real quick. Don't spend a lot of time on it, and then just put it out. Hey, there's somewhere in, like when I go to Lexington, I'll be there for 2 weeks. So, hey, somewhere in Lexington, there is this bottle. Here's a couple clues.
Just let people go look for it.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun.
That would be fun.
So we'll do that. But yeah, for everybody that played, thanks for playing. We appreciate it. And thanks for the feedback and the information and everything that was going on. And thanks everybody for being cool. We couldn't all win. you know, obviously. And
yeah, with clues like this and putting something like this together, there's always wiggle room for somebody to be a real dick about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Nobody was, so that was nice.
Yeah, it was cool. I think they realized that, you know, no one's paying for this. It's us. So, like, don't be mean to us. We're trying to. If you're mean to us, we're not going to do it.
Don't be assholes. It was $1,000 worth of stuff for free.
It was actually over $1,000, all said and done.
Yeah, and a good portion of that came out of your personal bottle collection.
It was my personal pocket, yeah. Personal pocketbook. But, you know, that's the point. You're supposed to share stuff, so. But yeah, thanks everybody for playing. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Josh, you found it all. What was your favorite clue?
I liked the white point. That was a hard one, a tough one.
Yeah, to be able to count it all.
Yeah.
And then how long did it take you to find the final piece?
A good 45 minutes of sweat, blood, tears, everything.
Because you had to climb down that little thing. Nobody wanted to walk down there.
I had a feeling it was down there just because of like the tide and listening to the podcast. So yeah, I was like, it's got to be close to here, and she came down there with me, and yeah, she's like, there it is.
Yeah. I'm glad you found it. Did you see the trail camera? Yeah.
Like I was like, I knew it. Like I freaking.
There's a trail camera. There's got to be over here somewhere.
Trail cams, yeah.
And you actually found out about us she bought you a gift, and then you got a card in the mail and joined our Patreon, right?
Correct. Yeah. That's correct.
And how much tips did I give you as a patron?
0.
I didn't help you at all.
No.
Yeah. Because that would have not been fair. And you can ask Colton. Colton's been texting me all day. That's probably who just texted me right now. Yeah, I haven't been. I was very fair about this. However, if you listen to the podcast, you should get a little bit of a heads up. So, go through what you got. $17.92 store pick. We tasted this and it reminded us of the Goonies, so I thought that was funny. But this is that 7 Stars liquor store you went to. He donated this bottle. He donated this Senator Rye pick, which is really good. He also donated this Old Elk Wheaties bottle, which was in one of our Bottle Boss picks. This is a really good pick. So he also gave us his Bland's. So that's where those came from. And then we threw in,
That's awesome.
There's people by me. And then so we threw in an Eagle Rare, Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond, the Toasted Barrel Elijah Craig. We got a Smoke Wagon Small Batch, the Old Fitzgerald Prime. This is a Kentucky only release. And then a bottle of Buffalo Trace to top it off. You're also going to win a bottle of Single Barrel from Highwire. Once Scott's back in town, he'll give it to me. And we're doing a Bourbon Barrel coffee pick. So once that's finished, it's aging right now in barrels. And once that's finished, you'll get that as well. We've got you a Whiskey and Whitetails t-shirt, which you can only get through Patreon and winning contests.
Oh, I love that.
So you get that. And then pretty much one of everything that we make. And I'll let you pick if you want a turkey call, a duck call. If you do a duck call, you get a duck and a wood duck and a mallard call. Turkey call, we got buck grunt tube. You get the smoker kit, which I know you already have, which I have another one. Both the cigar kits, and Trevor, keep filming that way. We're good. And Trevor from Guitar Cigars Farm, which you know, donated these 6 cigars as well. And you'll have a cutter and a torch to go with it. So, awesome. Well, thank you for playing. Congratulations. You can keep that. And have a great day, everybody. Thanks for playing.